What's up everyone, WizardKen here with another Xbox 360 World of Tanks video. Today we're going to be looking at the new premium tank, the M6A2E1, or better known yet as the Mutant. Now before we get into this, I would like to apologize for last Friday. Me and Rustage wasn't able to put up a Rustage and WizardKen show because we just had a really bad day of playing games, and every time we were trying to talk about the topic, our gameplay would get involved and we were just getting pissed off with it. So we said screw it, you know, days like that are going to happen. But we thank you guys so much for all your support and subscribing to us and watching our videos. You guys are amazing. The other thing too I would like to announce is that we did do an episode today, and it's going to be on Rustage's channel. Now Rustage has been having a lot of problems with his uploading and editing of his videos. A lot of his videos are messing up on him, and there's a reason probably for that. And my thoughts are on this is he's been saving all his videos on his laptop, which is really hard for a hard drive to do, especially with your operating system on it. Your hard drive will eventually start getting whacked out and stuff like that from adding and deleting things all the time. And me and Rustage have talked about this, and he is going to go out and actually buy a new hard drive, an external hard drive for his laptop, so he can save whatever's left of his hard drive on his laptop, and hopefully he can get this all corrected. So here it is, guys, the Mutant. We're going to be talking about this tank. I just got it today. I've been playing with it a couple of battles, and I've had a lot of fun with this tank. Now we're going to be talking about its stats. We're going to be comparing it to another tank of its tier, which is, right now this is a tier 8 premium tank. It only sees up to tier 9, but we're going to compare it with another tank that I'm very familiar with, the T-32. Now a lot of you guys might be thinking, why don't you compare it with the other premium tank, the T-34 or something like that? Well, the problem is I don't have a T-34. I've seen them in action, I've seen other people use them, but I am not completely familiar with those tanks, so I thought I'd compare it with the T-32, which is just fine. I mean, the T-32 and T-34 are kind of similar. They're a little bit different, but they're kind of the same. So anyways, we're going to compare it with the T-32. We're also going to be talking about, in the end, whether this thing is worth the gold that you're going to be paying for it or not. Whether you should be spending that 11,000 gold for this tank. And we're going to be talking about the things you get with this tank if you do buy it. So anyways, here we go. Alright guys, so let's start with the stats of this tank compared to the T-32. Now the T-32 is going to be using one of its final upgrades that you can get, and we're going to be using the 105mm final package that you can get with the T-32 because it's the same gun as the M6A2E1, so it'll give it somewhat of a decent comparison. Now starting with the T-32, the hit points on that thing is 1,550, where the M6A2E1 has 1,500. Not a huge difference, guys. Not a huge difference. Not enough to, you know, say the T-32 is winning. The speed limit on the T-32 is 35 kilometers per hour, where the speed limit on the Mutant is 29 kilometers per hour. So there is a little bit of a difference there. The T-32 is a little bit more maneuverable than the M6A2E1. Now the whole armor on the T-32 is 127 in the front, 76 on the sides, and 51 on the rear. Now the whole armor on the M6A2E1 is 191 in the front, 44 on the side, and 41 on the rear. Sorry about that. Now real quick before we move off to the whole armor, you'll notice that they are two different types of tanks. Now the T-32 looks like the T-29, but the M6A2E1 actually has the same hull as the T1 Heavy or the M6 Heavy that you see at, what is that, tier 5 and 6? I can't remember. Anyways, they look pretty much the same. They are the same. The only difference is that this is an upgraded version of their hulls. There's more armor and stuff like that. So, and I actually kind of like it because it's got a decent angle on it, and you can ricochet a good amount of shells off of this tank. I've done it with versing that KV4. It was fun. He almost kicked my ass, but in the end I did finally get to get him. So anyways, let's move on. Now the turret on the T-32 has 298 armor in the front, 197 on the side, and 152 on the rear, which is actually pretty badass. That's why a lot of people, when they ask me on the T-32, hey, I'm having a hard time with it. Hold down, people. Use your hold down positions as much as possible. That thing can be a very nasty tank, just like the T-29 was. You just need to use a hold down position. Just use your barrel or your gun to look over top of rocks and to kill people. Now the turret on the M6A2E1 is 191 in the front, 89 on the sides, and 208 on the rear. So we do lose a decent amount of armor compared to the T-32. Now the turret on this thing kind of reminds me of the T-57 line, to be honest with you. It looks pretty neat. It looks like it should be an autoloader, but it's not. But it kind of reminds me of the armor of that line too, where it doesn't have a lot of armor on these turrets. So you're gonna have to be careful with this thing. It does have a great gun depression on it, but just be careful with the armor. Now it is shaped, like I said, kind of like the T-57. Of course, the T-57 is a lot more slick. It is a tier 10 and stuff, so forth and so forth. But to be honest with you, this thing is angled pretty nicely on the sides and in the front. So there's not a lot for people to shoot at, and I have had people ricochet off of this. Tier 9s I have ricocheted off this tank, which has been pretty cool. So like I said, just be careful with this thing, but don't underestimate it. It is still a pretty nasty tank. So far the T-32 is winning, at least on the turret. The rate of fire, of course, on the T-32 is 5.66. The rate of fire on the M6A2E1 is 5.05. Now, we did state that this is the same gun as the T-32. It pretty much is. The pen and the damage are the same. 198 on pen, and damage is 320. But the T-32 does get a better rate of fire, which kind of sucks a little bit. It can almost do... You could probably, with a good crew, get that thing up to 6 rounds a minute. But the M6A2E1 is always going to be around, even with the best crew in it, probably only 5 rounds a minute. So you're never probably going to get that thing up to 6 rounds. But it's still not terrible. Like I said, T-32 is a little bit faster, but you know, by 1 round, which of course that 1 round could make a huge difference. So anyway, so we compared these tanks up to each other. To be honest with you, I think the T-32 does win in the end, but by a little bit. Be honest with you, it would still come down to player skills, just like we always talk about. Player skills, roll the dice. I think this tank could hold up its own in a battle pretty nicely, as it has done for me so far. So now that we compared the two tanks, before I even talk about how much this thing cost and whether I think it's worth that amount and stuff like that, let's just jump into a battle and see how this tank goes. And then we're going to talk about like all the things that you get with this tank when you buy it. Alrighty guys, we're in Fisherman Bay Standard Battle. We're going to be going against only Tier 8, which is really nice. We're going to have some T-32s up there. It doesn't look like anybody else has this tank. I wonder if anybody even notices that this tank is out. I mean, I didn't know this tank was coming out, except the other day somebody was telling me this was coming out. So anyways, how do I play this tank? That's probably your guys' first question. How do I feel about this tank and I run it? You know what, to be honest with you, I've been kind of acting like I'm in my KV4, and the reason why is I've been using that heavy line for a while now, and I haven't gotten out of the groove of it yet. I still feel like I need to push. I need to, you know, be the big man in there. And to be honest with you, this tank can actually kind of handle itself pretty nicely in that type of situation where you sit there and you're like, oh, I'm going to kill everyone and take out everyone. You can actually do that with this tank. You just have to be careful. You have to make sure that you get yourself in a good enough position that you can do that. There are some tanks that are going to pen you and kick your ass, and you have to be very careful with that. Like I said, it doesn't have amazing armor on the turret. It has a decent amount of armor on the front of the hull. You just got to be careful with this tank, and hopefully we can do that. We've got 3 artillery. I am kind of worried about that. I don't like going to the town when there's a lot of artillery, but then again, this is probably the safest place to go on this map when you do have artillery. And yeah, we've already lost 2 tanks, a light and a medium. Now some people are like, Oh, who cares? It's just a light tank. And sometimes I feel that way too, depending on how stupid that guy was. Yeah, there we go. I was lucky on getting that shot. But you know, to be honest with you, the way Rush Dodge runs a light tank and stuff like that, they can actually be pretty badass and pretty mean tanks, to be honest with you. And no one to shoot up there. I really don't want to push out too much. I might be able to... that T-32 just got hit hard. There's another T-32. I'm guessing this is the other T-32, possibly. There we go, T-44. I do like this barrel on, or this gun on this tank. It's a nice gun to have, guys. It really is. I mean, this is the top gun you can get with a T-32, which is really awesome. We're going to angle just a little bit. There we go. Look at that bounce. Look at that bounce, 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 bounce. That's going to be my new thing. I wish I could... I need that, like, record, like, a sound wave that does that. This is bounce, 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 bounce. Alright, who we got as a tank destroyer? T-28. I'm not too happy about going after one of those at the moment. Let's see. Is that T-32 going to come? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Let's go help this guy. Just like this. Bounce, bounce. As you can see, the rest of our team is fucking up. There's that T-32 in the open. M6, we're just going to take you out just to get rid of you, because you can be an annoying bastard if we let you live. Shit, this other T... Oh, god damn it. Yeah, I figured that was going to happen. Turn it. Ah! Yeah, T-28 is going to probably kick our ass. Probably going to kick our ass if we don't watch it. And I'm not looking forward to that. Where'd he hit us at anyways? Yeah, kind of figured he could pen us pretty easily. Yeah, our team is not doing good on this. Yeah, eat shit, IS-6. Ah, I was trying to keep him at bay. No, no, not good. Not good. Maybe I could push him into the water? Nope, not gonna happen. I gotta get myself turned around here. I've got to get myself turned around. Come on. Back it up. There we go. Shit, our ammo's gone. Now, as you can see, I mean, we're going against another premium tank, an IS-6. I mean, another hard tank sometimes to go against, and we have the T-28 coming up after us. We gave him a run for his money. We really did. Not too bad on that. I mean, he is faster than us. He is able to get around us a little bit easier. I probably could have done some other things to stop him from doing that, but all in all, we did give him a run for his money. We were able to pen that upper plate, and I'm pretty happy with that. I'm pretty happy with that. Alrighty, guys, so we made 68,000 in silver, 1,545 in experience points. We came in number one. We did over 2,000 in damage, which is not bad. We shot eight rounds, 7 of them penetrated. That one on the T-28 was not very good to do. Alrighty, so let's look at what you're gonna get with this tank if you buy it. Now, this thing is 11,000 in gold. That means $50 in the US. I don't know what it means in the UK, but it is pretty much 11,000 in gold. It's going to be expensive wherever you live. That's a lot of money. So, what you get with this is 100% crew, vertical stabilizer, improved vents, a large caliber tank gun rammer, 60 rounds of regular armor-piercing shells, and 12 rounds of gold rounds, or APCR. And 1 garage slot. So going back to the garage right now, we're going to talk about this stuff and whether it's worth the $50 or not. All the things that you get with this tank is everything you could buy with silver. You could buy all the, the vertical stabilizers, you can buy the vents, the gun rammer, all that stuff you could buy with silver. The regular rounds or the AP rounds, you can buy that with silver, and even the gold rounds you could buy with silver. So you just spent $50 on a tank, and all the stuff that they give you is stuff you could buy with silver, which kind of sucks. Now, But my understanding is that this is a rare tank. From what I've looked up on the PC, this thing is a rare tank, and it is retired. Now, what does that mean? I'm not sure. To be honest with you, it might mean that it might come out once in a very blue moon, or it might mean retired, that you will never see this tank again. Now, on the Xbox, I'm not sure whether you're going to see this tank or not. I haven't read anything up that states otherwise, but I would just assume, guys, that this is a rare tank and you won't see it again, kind of like the Ripper or the Fury. You're probably never going to see these tanks ever again. So really, it comes down to me personally. I think it's worth the 50 bucks, just because I might not ever see this tank again, and I like collecting these types of rare tanks that you might not ever see again. The performance of this tank is great. I mean, you get the last gun of the T-32, which does a decent amount of damage and penetration. The armor on this thing is not bad at all. It, as you saw on there, reversed an IS-6, which is sometimes a fucking shitty ass tank to go against, but I did alright against it. You know, we shot at some other tanks, we didn't do bad. I versed a KV-4 in this tank, I didn't do bad against it. The one problem that you have with a lot of these premium tanks is the guns on it are usually like a tier lower than what you're playing with, and that sucks. This one actually has the same tier and actually can fight in tier 9 battles. Plus, the premium matchmaking sees you up to tier 9. So, all in all, to be honest with you, if you have the money, please get this tank. I think it's worth it. I think you're going to get your monies out of it. I really like this tank, but to be honest with you, if you're not a heavy tanker, if you don't like playing with the KV-4 and stuff like that, don't get this tank. You're not going to like it. But if you like playing heavy tanks, this is actually a really nice tank. I do like this tank. I definitely would recommend this tank. It is worth the money you're going to pay for it. Like I said, you might not ever see this tank ever again. So please buy it if you can. It is really, really nice. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this review. I know it's an expensive tank, but I do think it's worth it. I think you will earn your silver very quickly with this tank. It's pretty much every game I finished somewhere in the top 3. I've only had one game where I've finished in like 5th or 6th, and that was because I just bought the tank and I had no idea how to run the tank. But all in all, I've really enjoyed this tank. It's a lot of fun. Like I said, it's got the firepower to make other people, you know, sit back and be like, oh shit, he actually can pen me pretty badly, and oh shit, I didn't pen him, what the fuck, kind of thing. You know, this thing can be very nasty if it's used right. Anyways, I'm WizardKen. Until next time, see ya.